Mary, let's talk about the EV market, because you are optimistic and constructive. At the same time, there have been some setbacks over the last few months. I'm thinking of Hertz. They need to dump 20,000 EVs. More recently, a competitor, Ford, had to cut the workforce making the electric F-150s. What do you think is behind the slowdown in EV growth more broadly over the last few months, the last few quarters?
Well, there definitely is a slowdown of EV adoption, although a transformation of this magnitude was never going to be completely linear. I think one of the important things is continuing to build out the charging infrastructure, but it's also about having purpose-built, ground-up EVs that have all the performance requirements. Because as we continue to grow in the EV market, and outside analysts expect that this next year, even the lowest is that it'll be an EV penetration of 10% versus this year of 7%. So although it's slowing, if we were to grow from 7 to 10%, that would still be significant and a record year for EVs. And to participate in that this year, we're well positioned with a portfolio of purpose-built EVs.
Mary, you and I have always talked about where the market is and where it's going. There was a belief for a while that we could move from the internal combustion engine to EVs, and now it feels like there's an interim step towards hybrids. You've been reluctant in the past. On the earnings call, you entertained that idea. What's changed your mind?
Well, again, as we're going through this transformation, a lot has changed. I think, a few years back when we made that statement, I think we thought we'd be farther along on the charging infrastructure, across the entire country. But I also think the regulatory environment has changed to be even more stringent. And so as we get there, we think now hybrids are going to play a role. We already have the technology. It's been deployed in other regions, so we'll apply it in North America at a time frame that we think is important, primarily from a regulatory environment, as we move forward.
Can we talk about that time frame just a little bit? How quickly can you get those cars to market, given, as you've just said, you have that technology ready to go?
Well, we're going to be launching those vehicles, the hybrids, in key segments of our portfolio, but we haven't put specific plans out. We'll be filling that in more later as we move on, because 2024 is really a year to focus on our EV production. Again, we've seen since last September, the Lyric, as we've been able to build more vehicles, demand keeps growing. We've even had a strong January that's matching, we believe will match December, even with all the weather challenges we've seen throughout the country. We have 100,000 either orders or reservations for our EV trucks that we're going to fulfill between 24 and 25. So again, when you think about new purpose-built EVs, I think we're in a different position than some. If for some reason we don't see that EV demand materialize, we've got the flexibility with 2 plants that can build both ICE and EV.